Hey kids, I know a lot of you already know me. A lot of you already attended a lot of my lectures. But for those of you who are new, who don't know me, I am Mansi and I will be your English trainer all these days, all these Sundays, till the time we are isolating ourselves, till the time we are helping the country, till the time we are helping the world, till the time we are helping the humanity, till the time we are helping ourselves, our families, our brothers, our mothers and fathers, till the time we are helping everybody, we need to isolate ourselves. And what is the most important thing at this moment of crisis? Help. That we help. We help each other by isolating ourselves. I know a lot of you might be sad because you are unable to go out and play your favorite sport. I know a lot of you might be sad, but it's absolutely okay because at this moment of crisis, the humanity, the world needs only one thing, and that is help, right? Okay, so we are not gonna sit at home and do nothing for ourselves because that's gonna be really bad for our health. We are not gonna sit at homes like that. We're not gonna just eat, sleep. I know a lot of you might be a little sad because you're not able to go to school, but for a lot of you, I also know that you might be a little happy because you're not going to school. You can eat and sleep and do your things all day and night, but that's okay, keeping the jokes apart. We cannot end up doing all those things all our lives because it's very important to learn. Learning is a very, very important part of our lives. If we stop learning, if we stop reading, if we stop exploring, if we stop doing new things, everything stops. Okay, and we don't want that. We are all helping the world in one or the other way, and this is also one of the ways to help the world. This is also one of the ways to help the humanity, that is to learn, to grow. I think we all have heard of Sir Isaac Newton. He was one of the greatest scientists, right? We all know that. You know, at a point in time when there was this great plague, okay, the governments asked these people to sit at home and not go out so that they can save each other, just like the situation that is very much there in front of us. Okay, so what did Sir Isaac Newton do? He sat at home and he started exploring new things and he became what he is today. Right. So, in the similar fashion, we are also not gonna waste our time. We're also gonna learn something new. We're also gonna read some important writers that are required for us, that are there in our school books, necessary for students at our age to be able to read. Right. So, first of all, welcome everybody to Finland Academy's Junior Leaders course, only pioneer leadership course across the country, where we help students read and write and, of course, speak in English. Not only English, but we also help students develop a different sort of confidence so that they can go out and be what they want to be. So confidence is very important, learning is very important, and how do you learn? When you read. So books, they're gonna be the most important things. They are your best friends if you want to become something in life, right? So books are the best friends, and we should always keep ourselves in the company of a good book. Okay, what is a reader? A reader, he lives 1,000 lives before he dies. So if you do want to live thousands and millions of lives, then you have to become a good reader. Okay, so yeah, every Sunday we're gonna have one session where we're gonna read one beautiful story by any great writer. Okay, and we'll try analyzing, we'll try learning, we'll try exploring new things from the story or about whatever the writer has tried to give in the story. Right, so we're gonna read this very, very beautiful story by Rabindra Tagore, and it's called The Kabuliwala. Okay, so a very beautiful story. If anybody has read this story, anywhere, maybe in their classes or in their school, you can still give it a read, because this is one of those stories that you can read anytime, right? Very beautiful story. So we're going to read this story together, line by line, and see what Rabindranath Tagore wants us to explore, wants us to learn. So yeah, we all know that Rabindranath Tagore was one of the greatest Indian writers, right? And he has contributed greatly in the field of English literature. And here we have one very beautiful story by Rabindranath Tagore called the Kabuliwala. So we're gonna read Kabuliwala together line by line and see what Rabindranath Tagore has in his bag full of gifts for us. Let's find out what's that gift he wants us to explore. Yeah, let's read it line by line together. Let's look at our screens. My 5-year-old daughter Minnie cannot live without chattering. What is chattering? So we got a new word here. Chattering. What is chattering? When you keep on chatting, like a lot of us, what do? We keep on talking all the time. One thing, another thing, another thing. And what do our parents do when we keep on chatting? They're just irritated, okay? They're like, don't talk to me, okay? Go back. Don't talk to me. So that is what chattering. When you're chatting all day and night, so chattering. I really believe that. So you have a comma here. So we're gonna, keep a pause and then read, right? I really believe that in all her life. So we have a comma again. So we're gonna again give a pause and then we go back to reading. She has not wasted a minute in it. Wasted a minute in silence. So what do we learn here? That maybe this girl, the 5-year daughter, Minnie, that the writer is talking about, she's always busy chatting, she's chatting all the time. Her mother is often vexed. What is vexed? She's always troubled. She's always irritated, like your mother sometimes. Yeah, all our mothers, our fathers, they get irritated from us. Even my mother does sometimes when I'm chatting all day and night. Her mother is often vexed at this and would like to stop her prattle. What is prattle? We learned one more word here, prattle. Again, chatting, she's always chatting. But I would not. For Minnie to be quiet is unnatural. One more word we'll learn here, unnatural. This is something, she cannot give up. This is not natural to her. What is natural to her? That she's always chatting and chatting. This is something really natural to her. This is something that she cannot give up. And I cannot bear it long. So what do we learn in paragraph number 1? We see that this little girl whose name is Minnie, her parents are complaining that she is chatting all day and night and nobody can stop her from this chatting that she does all day and night, right? Then moving on, the window of my room overlooks the road. The child had seated herself at my feet near my table and was playing softly, drumming on her knees. I was hard at work on my 17th chapter. Maybe we come to know that the writer here is himself, the father himself here is a writer. So maybe he's working on his 17th chapter or maybe on his any book that he wants to write. When suddenly Minnie left her play and ran to the window crying, "A kabuliwala, a kabuliwala." Okay? So we have to imagine this little girl Minnie, amazed at looking this kabuliwala running all the way and shouting and screaming, "Kabuliwala, kabuliwala." Like a lot of us, we do that, when we see somebody coming on these roads and something that stuns us, something that shocks us, and we keep on running. We tell our parents, "See, this person has come, this person has come." So to imagine that Minnie also does the same thing. Walking slowly along, he carried a bag on his back and box of grapes in his hand. So what do we do? Then, moving on, the writer says, she began to call him loudly. The kabuliwala turned and looked at the child. When she saw this, she was overcome by terror and turning to her mother's protection, disappeared. Okay, disappeared means she ran away from that place. So what do we come to know in these lines? That this girl Minnie, she's suddenly terrified looking at this kabuliwala. Okay, maybe she thinks that he's a thief, maybe she thinks that he's going to harm her. So this is why, what does she do? She starts to run. She suddenly disappears because she is extremely scared of kabuliwala. She had a blind belief that inside the bag which the big man carried, there were perhaps 2 or 3 other children like herself. So, what did this little girl Minnie believed? She believed that the kabuliwala had this bag, and this bag had some children in it. Okay, so we come to know that she's utterly scared of this kabuliwala. Okay. The peddler meanwhile entered my doorway and greeted me with a smile. Who's a peddler here? Who's a peddler here? Kabuliwala himself is a peddler here. So what do we come to know in paragraph number 3? That this little girl Minnie, she's extremely terrified. She's extremely stunned. She's extremely scared of this guy, of this kabuliwala, and she just wants to run away because she thinks that the bag this kabuliwala is holding is full of some little children, and he'll come and put her also in the bag. So what does she do? She just runs away because she is utterly scared. Then the writer says, I made some small purchases. As he was about to leave, he asked, and where is this little girl, sir? Okay, so the kabuliwala asked the father, where is your little girl? And then, thinking that Minnie must get rid of her false fear, I had her brought out. So what did the father do? He brought the girl out. He brought Minnie out of the house. Okay, so that she can get away with her false fear that she has, because she's already scared, and the father doesn't want the girl to be scared. The father wants her to know the reality that kabuliwala might be a good man, he might not be a bad man, so there is no need to be scared like this, right? Then it says, she stood by my chair and looked at the kabuliwala and his bag. So Minnie is standing there and she just looks at the kabuliwala and his bag. He offered her nuts and raisins, but would not be tempted. Okay, what is tempted? That she would not give in to the temptation that the kabuliwala is trying to give her. The kabuliwala, what does he do? He gives her some nuts and raisins. Like somebody comes and gives you toffees and chocolates. So what would you do? You would be happy. Okay, you will be happy and you will take toffees and chocolates from that person. But here, the girl, she's not tempted. Minnie doesn't want to get tempted. Minnie doesn't take any nuts and raisins, and only clung closer to me with all her doubts increased. So we see Minnie is all the more scared. Okay, so she clunks closer to her father so that kabuliwala cannot touch her, right? Then moving on, it says, this was their first meeting. So this was the first time. This is how kabuliwala and Minnie, this little girl Minnie, they met. Then moving on, it says, a few mornings later, however, I was leaving the house. I was startled to find Minnie. Startled, we learn another word here. Startled means surprised. Okay, I was surprised to find Minnie seated on a bench near the door, laughing and talking with the great kabuliwala at her feet. So here we come to know one day what happens. This father, he sees that Minnie is sitting along with kabuliwala and she is enjoying, she is laughing all the way, right? So we come to know that Minnie and kabuliwala have become friends now. In the beginning, when we met Minnie, what was she doing? She was utterly scared of kabuliwala. But after some time, we come to know that Minnie has become friends with kabuliwala. Then In all her life, it appeared, my small daughter had never found so patient a listener. Okay, so what is the father trying to say? That all her life nobody listened to Minnie like the way Kabuliwala was listening to her. In the beginning only we see what was the writer saying, that she was all the way chatting and talking and eating our heads, so they never wanted to listen to Minnie. But this was the first time that Minnie got such a friend in Kabuliwala who was ready to listen to Minnie all day and night. And already the corner of her little sari was stuffed with almonds and raisins, the gifts of her visitor. So we come to know that Kabuliwala, in exchange of some gifts, what has he given her? He's given her some nuts and raisins. The Kabuliwala had overcome the child's first terror by a judicious bribe, and two were now great friends. So, what do we come to know? That Kabuliwala has taken over the child's fear. Okay, that the little girl, Minnie, she's no more scared, right? She's no more scared. Now she's become what? She's become friends with this Kabuliwala, and Kabuliwala was the only friend who used to listen to Minnie's chatter, Minnie's talkative things all day and night. Then, moving on, it says, they had many quaint jokes. Quaint means many strange kinds of jokes, which amused them greatly. Again, amused them, like the writer is trying to explain us that Kabuliwala and the girl Minnie, they used to share these strange jokes with each other and laugh amongst themselves. Like a lot of times it happens, we're just sitting with our friends and nobody would understand our joke, but we still have these strange jokes that only we can understand and only we can laugh on them. So in the similar way, what is the writer trying to tell us? That they had such deep friendship now that they used to share these strange kinds of jokes and laugh with each other all the time. Then Minnie would seat herself before him, look down on his gigantic frame. So we come to know another word, gigantic, big frame, like this big frame. Okay, that means we come to know that this Kabuliwala, he had big stature, he was big, he had this big height and he was sturdy, strong. Okay, frame in all her tiny dignity, and Minnie was what? Just a little girl, just this little, and Kabuliwala this big, right? With a face rippling with laughter would begin, "Oh Kabuliwala, Kabuliwala, what have you got in your bag?" So she was just laughing all the way and asking Kabuliwala, "What have you got in your bag? What have you got in your bag?" And then what would he reply? And he would reply, "An elephant," so that she would laugh more. Of course, there was no elephant in the bag, but just to make her laugh, in order to make Minnie laugh, okay, in order to crack these strange, quaint jokes, in order to become friends with her, he used to say all of these things so that Minnie would burst out into these bangs of laughter. Then it says, then the Kabuliwala, not to be behindhand, like he never used to miss any point. If Minnie is saying something, immediately he will also say something. Would take his turn, "Well, little one, and when are you going to your father-in-law's house?" So he would ask Kabuliwala would ask Minnie, "When are you going to your father-in-law's house?" Which means, when are you going to get married? And here we have to understand why is he deliberately using the word father-in-law's house, because father-in-law's house is meant to be a jail where you have to work, where you cannot laugh, where you have to work all day and night, look after people, care for your family, look after your kids, husband and everybody. So this is why he was asking, when are you going to your father-in-law's house? Okay, let's look at this picture. Let's look at, this is maybe the father, this is Minnie's father, who is the writer who is telling us the story, and this is Minnie. Okay, this is Minnie who was friends with Kabuliwala, and this here we come to know is who. It's Kabuliwala with nuts and raisins in his hands, who wants to give these nuts and raisins to this little girl Minnie. Right, so you can just look at the picture and analyze the story, analyze what I was just trying to say. Okay, now moving on. Minnie at this question must have been a trifle bewildered. Bewildered means, another word we learn means confused. Okay, she was confused as to what to say. Okay, when Kabuliwala was asking, when are you going to Fatherinlaw, because she was so small. Okay, she was so small, she was so tiny, she had no idea about marriage and stuff, but she would not show it, and with a ready tact replied, are you going there? Okay, so Minnie would not show all of these things, that she is not understanding what Kabuliwala is saying. So what would she do? She would ask Kabuliwala, are you also coming there to my grandfather? Where? To my grandfather's house. Sorry, to my father-in-law's house. Then it says, amongst people of the Kabuliwala's class, however, it is well known that the words father-in-law's house have a double meaning. Now I was just explaining you this, that father-in-law's house have a double meaning. What is that double meaning? They mean a jail where you have to work all day and night and look for these people, care for your family, care for your kids, where you cannot be what you want to be, where you cannot enjoy your life at all. Then it says, in this sense, with the sturdy peddler, sturdy means strong, peddler, take my daughter's questions. Ah, he would say, shaking his fist at an invisible policeman, I will thrash my father-in-law. That means he says, I would beat my father-in-law. Minnie would go off into the pearls of laughter, in which her formidable friend would join. Okay, formidable means shocking. Okay, so here we come to know that they are still cracking jokes and having fun, asking each other and pulling each other's legs. Okay, maybe enjoying each other's company all the more. Then next paragraph. One morning suddenly I heard an uproar on the street, and uproar means like a lot of people may be shouting, a lot of these large voices coming out, and looking out saw Rahman. So we come to know here that the name of the Kabuliwala is Rahman. Okay, Rahman being led away, bound between two policemen, and behind them a crowd of inquisitive boys. So what do we come to know? That Kabuliwala maybe has done something wrong. Okay, so what did he saw? He sees that there are two policemen who are holding Kabuliwala, and but Kabuliwala, maybe he wants to fight back and he wants to go away, but these policemen, they are not ready to leave him. There were blood stains on his clothes. So see, there were blood stains on his clothes. Maybe Kabuliwala has committed a murder. He's done something wrong. He's killed somebody. This is why there were some policemen and a lot of people shouting behind Kabuliwala. And one of the policemen carried a knife. I hurried out and, stopping them, inquired what it all meant. Partly from one, partly from another, I gathered that a certain neighbor had owed peddler something for a Rampuri shawl, but had denied buying it, and that in the course of the quarrel, Rahman had struck him. Now, in this excitement, the prisoner began calling his enemy all sorts of names, when suddenly in a veranda of my house appeared my little Minnie with her usual exclamation, "Oh Kabuliwala, oh Kabuliwala." Rahman's face lighted up as he turned to her. He had no bag under his arm today, so that she could not talk about the elephant with him. She therefore at once proceeded to the next question. So, what we come to know that Kabuliwala has committed a murder and he has killed somebody, okay, and he has killed that person in fight, and he has killed that person again, one more thing, with a knife, and policemen and everybody there came to know about it, and now he will be going to jail, okay, his actual jail. Are you going to your father-in-law's house? So Minnie asks Kabuliwala, are you going to your father-in-law's house? Rahman laughed and said that that is just where I'm going, little one. So he says, yes, I'm going there. Because this is the time when he is actually going to a jail. Then, seeing that the reply did not amuse the child, he held up his fettered hands. Ah, he said, I would have thrashed that old father-in-law, but my hands are bound. So we come to know that maybe Minnie, as a little child here, understood that Kabuliwala has done something wrong. Maybe Minnie also, as a child, understood that Kabuliwala is now going to leave her. Maybe Minnie, as a child, also understood that Kabuliwala will no long remain with her. They will not be friends anymore. She will have nobody to listen to, and he will leave her forever. On a charge of murderous assault, Rahman was sentenced to 7 years imprisonment. So we come to know that Rahman will live in jail for now 7 years because he has done what? He has committed a murder. Then, moving on, time passed and he was forgotten. So time passed and Minnie also forgot who Kabuliwala was. Moving on. It was autumn and we had made arrangements for a Minnie's marriage. So we come to know that now Minnie is a big girl. Okay, now she's really gonna get married. It's a marriage day. Okay. So see, this is the line. It was autumn and we had made arrangements for Minnie's marriage. So what do we come to know? That Minnie is now a big girl. It was to take place during the puja holidays. The morning was bright. Since early dawn, the wedding pipes had been sounding. So you can imagine a house where there are a lot of people making arrangements for these marriages, and all the people happy because Minnie, the little girl of the house, is gonna get married. Okay, now she's no more little. We have to remember now she's a big girl. There was endless hurry and excitement. So everybody was in hurry, everybody was in excitement because of the preparations that were going on for Minnie's marriage. I was sitting in my study looking through the accounts when someone entered, saluting respectfully, and stood before me. So what do we come to know? When somebody entered, saluting respectfully, and stood before me. Who do you think it must be? Kabuliwala, because now Minnie is also old. Now she's a big girl, and 7 years might have passed. Okay, it was a 7-year sentence for Rahman, and now Rahman, the Kabuliwala, is also out of the jail. It was Rahman, the Kabuliwala. At first, I did not recognize him. He carried no bag. His long hair was cut short and his old vigor means energy, okay? His old vigor or his old energy seemed to have gone, but he smiled and I knew him again. So what do we come to know? That Kabuliwala has come to the door, has come in the house of Minnie on the day of her wedding itself, on the day when Minnie is going to get married. And we come to know that Rahman now is not the same person. So we come to know that Rahman was now a different person. He carried no bag, his long hair was cut short, and his energy was all gone. But he smiled and I knew him again. So the writer, the father, asks him, "When did you come, Rahman?" I asked him. He said, "Last evening I was released from jail." So we come to know another important thing, that he was now finally released from jail. The words stuck harshly upon my ears. Harshly? These words did not sounded good to the writer, because he had quite forgotten that Kabuliwala ever existed, or Kabuliwala was now in jail. Okay, so now everything flashed back. Now he remembered that he had committed a murder, right, and therefore he was in the jail for 7 years. Then the writer says, "There are ceremonies going on," I said, "and I'm busy. Perhaps you could come another day." So the writer, he says that there are some ceremonies, some festivities going on. What is the ceremony? The wedding of Minnie itself. The ceremony wedding of Minnie itself, Minnie herself. I said, "And I'm busy." So the writer said, "You can come on another day. See, I'm very busy today because there are some important ceremonies going on." The man's face fell. What does it mean? The moment he heard this, he became a little sorrowful. He was sad. Okay. He looked wistfully. Wistfully again means he looked very sadly. Okay. At me for a moment, then said, "Good morning," and went out. So he just went out sadly. Okay. He didn't wanted to go. Maybe he wanted to come. He wanted to meet Minnie once. Maybe he just wanted to talk to Minnie. Just look at Minnie, how she has become, if she has grown big, what kind of girl she is now. Maybe he just wanted to just have a look at Minnie. But the moment the writer said that some important ceremony is going and I'm busy, that was the time when his face fell. He felt sad. Okay, why? Because now he had to finally leave without meeting Minnie. Why he had come there? Just to meet Minnie, right? Then I felt a little sorry and would have called him back, but I found he was returning of his own accord. That means without even saying, without even asking, the Kabuliwala came back again to the writer, to the father. Okay, he came close up to me and held out his offerings with the words. What did he say? "I have brought these few things, sir, for the little one. Will you give them to her?" So he had come there just to meet Minnie, and this is what he says, that "I've come here just to meet Minnie. Okay, can you just give these little things, these little gifts that I have for her, so that she can remember, so that she remembers who I am, and I've bought some things for her." He requests the father, he requests the writer, so that he can give the gifts that is bought for Minnie. Right? Next, I took them and was going to pay him, but he caught my hand and said, "You're very kind, sir. Keep me in your memory. Do not offer me money." So here we come to know, the moment Kabuliwala was about to give money, the moment the father was about to give money to Kabuliwala, what did he do? He refused to take money. Why? Because he had bought all of those things for Minnie out of love and not for any money. He says, "You're very kind, sir. Keep me in your memory." Look at it. Such a beautiful man. He must be a nice man. "You're very kind, sir. Keep me in your memory. Do not offer me money. You have a little girl. I too have one, like her in my own home. I think of her and bring this fruit to your child, not to make a profit for myself." So what do we come to know? One more thing, that even Kabuliwala had a little girl, and she was of the same age as that of Minnie, and this is why he always used to go out and play with Minnie. Why? Because it used to give him some remembrance of his own daughter. Saying this, he put his hand inside his big loose robe and brought out a small and dirty piece of paper. Unfolding it with great care, he smoothed it out with both hands on my table. It bore the impression of a little hand, not a photograph, not a drawing, merely the impression of an ink smeared hand laid flat on the paper. So, what was it? It was the impression of his own daughter that he used to carry everywhere so that he can remember that his daughter is there with him no matter where he is living. Even if he is living in far off places in another country, still is his daughter is with him through that impression, okay, through that impression in the paper. The touch of the hand of his own little. Now see this another picture I got you. Can you see these two policemen? So yeah, can you see this picture here? So this is what? A kabuliwala. This is the crime scene. These are the two policemen who are carrying kabuliwala maybe to the jail because he has committed crime, right? Then moving on, you can look at the picture again if you want. Yeah. Then where were we? The touch of the hand of his own little daughter he had carried always next to his heart as he had come year after year to Calcutta to sell his wares in the streets. Yeah, so we come to know what? That he had always carried those marks of impression of his little child so that he can remember her wherever he goes. And we also come to know one more thing, that the story is set in Calcutta. Yeah, so we come to know where has the writer set our story? In Calcutta. Tears came to my eyes. I forgot that he was a poor Kabuli fruit seller while I was, but no, what was I more than he? He also was a father. So when this happened, when he saw these marks of impression on this dirty paper, right, he was utterly saddened. The writer, the father, was utterly saddened, okay, and tears started flowing in his eyes. And that was the time when he remembered that he too, Kabuliwala, was just like a father, just a father like him, like the writer, okay. I sent for Minnie immediately from the inner apartment, clad in the red silk of a wedding day. So we come to know that this is the wedding day of Minnie, with the sandal paste on her forehead and adorned as a young bride. So Minnie is looking like a young fresh bride with all those ornaments and a beautiful sari on, and she's looking really bright, really beautiful. Okay, Minnie came and stood modestly before me. The Kabuliwala seemed amazed at this apparition. What does it mean? He was shocked to see Minnie in the attire of a bride. Why? Because he had always seen Minnie as a little girl, and when he suddenly saw Minnie all grown up, wearing all the bridal attire and bridal ornaments, he was suddenly shocked. He was stunned that if it is the same Minnie, is it the same Minnie that I used to talk to, I used to play with? He could not revive their old friendship. Revive means he could not bring their old friendship back, because now Minnie was a grown-up girl. At last he smiled and said, "Little one, are you going to your father-in-law's house?" So this is the same joke that he used to carry, that he used to crack. So again he tried cracking the joke, but this time Minnie will not reply, because why? Minnie has now become a big girl. But Minnie now understood the meaning of the word father-in-law. Now this was the time when Minnie actually understood the meaning of the word father-in-law, okay, what it means, what it actually refers to. And she could not answer him as of old, okay. She blushed at the question and stood before him with a bride-like face bowed down. So she did not answer. Why? Because she was now a big girl. When she had gone, Rahman sighed deeply and sat down on the floor. So sat down, and he was also sad. Like he took a deep breath and he just sat down, looking at Minnie, thinking that now his daughter must also be this big. Yeah. The idea had suddenly come to him that his daughter too must have grown up, while he would have to make friends anew with her also. That the idea had suddenly come to him that his daughter too must have grown up. So the daughter of Kabuliwala must have also become a big girl now. And he was saddened by this fact, because now he has to go back and do the same thing, do the same friendship again with her. Maybe her daughter might have also forgotten him all these years. I took out a currency note, gave it to him, and said, "Go back to your daughter, Rahman, in your own country, and may the happiness of your meeting bring good fortune to my child." So now, what did the father do? He gave some money to Kabuliwala and he said, "You go back. Go back to the place where you have your wife, where you have your family, where you have your little daughter. Go back, take care of them, meet them." Okay? And why did the father do this? Because he wanted, you know, he wanted to bring back, or maybe to revive some happiness or some fortune in his own child's life. Maybe because the father realized that the the daughter of Kabuliwala might have also grown up. Maybe he also needs to go, he also needs to meet her, he wants to make friends with her, he also needs to see where his daughter is, how is she living, if she is good, if she is doing good things, right? Having made this present, I had to curtail some of the festivities. So what happened when he gave some money to Kabuliwala? Of course, he thought that he'll be using that money in festivities, in the marriage ceremony. But what did he do? He gave that money, some part of the money, to Kabuliwala, so that he can go back to his land and meet his family and his daughter especially. I could not have the electric lights I had intended. Why? Because now he had no money for that. Maybe he had divided that sector of money for the lights. So there were no electric lights, but he believed what? Let's read. "But to me the wedding feast was all the brighter for the thought that in a distant land a long lost father had met again his only child." But the writer, the father of Minnie, was all the more happy. Why? Because he now realized that Kabuliwala can go back and finally meet his daughter. Okay, a long lost father had met again his only child. Now he can go back and meet his only child. Yeah, I hope you all liked the story. If you faced any problem, you can drop down your comments in the comments section below. Okay, and if you want to chat with me personally, or if you have any queries regarding this session, okay, you may call me at 8865028865. This is our academy's WhatsApp and calling number both. You can call or WhatsApp on this number, and you will find this number and the link just in the description box or in the comments section below. Right, I hope you liked this story. This was a lovely story by Rabindra Tagore. In our next section, that is on the next Sunday, we'll come up with one more beautiful story. We'll try reading out that story to all of you. Till then, keep learning, keep growing. Take care.